Hey, is that alright? Can you see me? Do you want to see me? Really? I mean, honestly. Have we got anybody there? Nobody's watching yet, so I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait for you. Come on. Everyone knows about it. Everybody knows about it. Let's go. I'm hoping Mick's going to be joining us. Hello, Mick. He should be logging in any minute now. If you're on Twitter, you there? Facebook. Alright, Mick, he's just joined. Nice to see you. I'm doing that, but you can't see it off camera, can you? Look at the collar up, and it's so warm outside. It's lovely. Not that I've been out much, but you know. Nice to see you. We've got a few people on Twitter. Hello, Twitter. Nice to see you, Twitter sphere. We've got a few things to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about Corona because it's all over the place. We've had a few dads talking to us, asking us questions about the partners and what they need to do, that kind of stuff. So we've got some information from some midwives, particularly specialist midwives in Bolton. They've been really helpful with helping us to find that information out, which is great. We're going to talk about consoling your baby. So we did a little bit last week about those 6 steps to consoling your 6 states that your baby's in, and one of those was crying and consoling your baby. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, and we're going to talk about looking after yourself. We need to make sure that we're all right so that we can support our families now more than ever, but this is something we need to do all the time, so we're going to talk about that as well. And then anything that you guys want to bring up, we've got some questions that we've had from groups that we've done in the past, so we might go over them as well. So yeah, we're good. We've got 6 people now on Facebook, which is ace. Well, 5, somebody left. How rude. So let me see who. It doesn't tell me who we've got, which is a shame. But hi everybody. Give us a like or a comment if you're watching. Okay, first things first. Corona info. I'd put it like that. That sounds really blasé, doesn't it? But it's not really. We really want to talk about it. It's something that everyone's talking about. Whoever you speak to, wherever you are, as long as you're at home, the people you're speaking to are talking about Corona and how it's affecting you. Obviously, we're working with a lot of dads who are supporting mums, and a lot of dads that are going through pregnancy. So we want to make sure that we've got the right information for you. So first things first, pregnant women are on the vulnerable. Well, I can't say that. The vulnerable list. They're on there because so it doesn't appear that they're more likely to be severely unwell than any other healthy adults if they get coronavirus. Because it's very new, the virus is, I'm reading it off a thing so I get it right, so don't worry. Because the virus is really new, we're just kind of learning about it, so there's no evidence to suggest that there's an increased risk of anything going wrong with the pregnancy because of coronavirus. The advice remains that if you've got symptoms and they get worse, or you're not getting better, then contact your maternity care team or NHS 111 and they'll be able to support you with that. There's no evidence the virus can pass to your baby while you're pregnant or during labour. And then there's a load of guidelines that we need to look at. But it's important to understand that the women are on the vulnerable list as a caution. It's a precautionary addition. There's no evidence to say that they are more susceptible or will be more severely unwell. So that's why they're on there. So the advice around looking after yourself as a pregnant woman. Alright, Pete, nice to see you. Andy Palmer, nice to see you. Oh, Andy's on all our leaflets. He's got with his little Millie, she's cute. So nice to see you guys too. Mick's on, he's posting for us now, so you'll see there's a link in the comments. This is to the guidance from the Royal College of Obs and Gynes, obstetricians and gynecologists. I wasn't going to say that because I'd probably get the words wrong. The advice for you if you're pregnant is it's the same as everybody else as well. Obviously, social distancing, regular hand washing, using a tissue. If you're coughing, sneezing, get rid of it. Make sure you wash your hands. Avoiding contact with somebody who's displaying symptoms of coronavirus. That's a high temperature and a cough, or a new cough. A new or continuous cough is the way to say it. Avoid non-essential use of public transport where possible. But there was some amendments to the guidelines, or some clarification, if you like, around co-parenting, where you can transport children between households. obviously, if there's an alternative, then try and keep your children safe as well. Work from home where possible. There are a lot of pregnant women that we meet that are midwives and nurses, and they've got guidelines through their employer, so follow those. But where you can, work from home. Avoid large and small gatherings in public spaces. So pubs and restaurants and everything's all shut now, so you can't do any of that. But don't go to the park for a jog. Don't have a hot tub party. The obvious stuff. Avoiding large and small gatherings. Try and keep in touch using remote technology, right? So we're using this now. This is pretty new for us. Yesterday I have 5 different video call meetings during the day, and by the end of the day I felt really confident with it, and it was something that I felt really engaged with. So if you need some support with that, if you want some advice with that, send us a message. We'll talk you through what options are out there for you to do this with. But there's loads of stuff you can do: phone, video calls, internet, social media, all that kind of stuff. Use your telephone or your online services to contact your GP, or essential services like maternity. I think that goes without saying. You don't want to be going to your GP practice if you are struggling with coronavirus symptoms, because you don't want everybody else to be catching it, do you? So the decision that was made by the officials to place pregnant women on the vulnerable category is cautionary. We've said that already. Some viral infections are worse for pregnant women, but at the moment there's no evidence that this is the case for coronavirus, and they're building the amount of evidence at the moment. They're doing really quite a lot of information gathering as we're going on. You need to follow government advice around social distancing, stay away from public spaces, avoid anyone who's got symptoms. And then some of the maternity stuff that's going on. So, just one second, we've got Nick on. Hello, Nick. Nice to see you, guy. Again, the link's in the comments if you want to talk there. If you've got a routine scan appointment or visit due, you might want to contact them. Try and still attend if you can, but it might change due to staffing or due to hospital restrictions. Your maternity services are the people to speak to. Each trust has its own guidance in place based on the risk and stuff at that hospital. So unless they've cancelled for you, then you need to contact them if you're worried, but hopefully you'll be able to make sure you're still seeing the people you need to see. Some appointments might be done over the phone or over video conferencing, so hopefully that is an option for you as well. So if between appointments, if you're between appointments, then just wait to hear from your maternity team. They've got you on their records. It'll flag up that they need to speak to you. It's all in hand. Don't worry too much. Just wait to hear from them. If you're attending more regularly in pregnancy, then your maternity team will be in touch with more detailed plans for you. If you miss an appointment and you've not heard from your maternity team, contact them to rearrange the appointment. Just don't just assume that they're all cancelled. Make sure you talk to them so that they know where you're at and you can figure that out with them. Yes, Anushka. All right, Anush. You do need to ring up and make sure you're talking to them and figure it out, and they'll be able to help you out with how that works and where you're going to go for that and stuff. Right, next bit of advice. So, whatever your personal situation is, please consider the following. This is general for everyone. If you've got any concerns, you can still contact your maternity teams. They're there for you. They will answer your questions. They might take a little bit longer to get back to you, but please bear with them. If you've got an urgent problem related to your pregnancy but not related to coronavirus, use the same emergency contact details that you got at your booking scan. All the same contact details that you will be using there if it's not to do with coronavirus. But don't contact that number unless it's an urgent problem. If you've got symptoms suggestive of coronavirus, contact maternity services. They're going to arrange the right place and time to sort out your visits, because you shouldn't be going to a routine clinic, obviously, but you'll still be seeing somebody and speaking to somebody about your pregnancy. You'll be asked to keep the number of people with you at appointments to a minimum. This is going to include being asked to not bring children with you to maternity appointments. And there may be a need to reduce the number of antenatal visits, and they'll tell you all about that and how that's going to look for you. But don't you do it, just agree that with your maternity colleague. With maternity professionals, they're the best people to speak to. So we've had dads asking us about how can they support their partners, what information do they need for their partners. So this is why we're doing that. Some of the other stuff is obviously around labour, and it's quite a stressful time, isn't it? We want to support our partners during labour, and obviously we don't want to put anybody at risk. So some trusts have got different guidelines in place. I think they're all saying that a birth partner can be there during labour, but you may be asked to leave in the morning. You might not be able to stay overnight. It might be one birth partner, it might be two birth partners, depending on which trust you're at. If you're staying on a labour ward, then it'll probably be limited to visiting times, which isn't ideal for us in terms of what we want to do with our partners and our babies, but it's exactly what we need to do in terms of keeping them safe. So you need to bear that in mind as well. There will be things in place that your maternity service providers will tell you about, okay? Make sure that you're listening to them and keeping in touch. Anybody got any questions about that, right? Oh, Bryony, hi Bryony, nice to see you. Shelley, thank you very much, we're trying our best. Is there anything anybody else wants to talk about in terms of corona and pregnancy, all that kind of stuff? How are you all doing? Oh, I've had to spend so much time with my 20-year-old, but she doesn't get out of bed till tea time, so it's been driving me insane. I moved house in November, and I've not got any gardening stuff, and I can't even do the garden in my downtime, which is driving me mad as well. Mick is commenting, so if there's any comments on there that you want to share or look at, we'll share the video again afterwards and you can have a look at it. We'll also put it on our YouTube channel. We've got some more videos on our YouTube channel, Meet the Team videos, which are going down really well. I've got some other ones from Homestart, so any of you Homestart guys that are out there, hi. Hopefully you'll see those videos on YouTube soon. So the next thing we're going to talk about, let me just check I'm scratching my nose, it's really itchy. That's just not really good information for you to have. Consoling your baby, okay, so we've had a couple of times this week, I've spoken to a couple of dads, and they are under the impression that there's two ways to console your baby. You either go in and pick them up as soon as they start fussing, or you leave them to cry until they stop. But it's so much more nuanced than that. There's so many more steps to take. Babies cry, they all do. They're supposed to do it. It's the way they communicate to us that they're uncomfortable. They don't understand how days and nights are different. For them, they're hungry or not hungry, they're awake or not awake, they're playing or not playing. They don't really understand sleep patterns. And their sleep hormones aren't going to kick in until they're 12 to 16 weeks. And even then, it's going to take time for that to settle down. So if your baby's crying at night and you're frustrated because it's bedtime, that's your bedtime, that's nothing to do with them. What they need is to know that they're safe so that they can settle. There's some things you can do to help them with that sleep pattern. So using red light in the room apparently is a really good thing to do. When they're sleeping during the day, when they nap during the day, don't have them in a dark room and have it really quiet, because they need that at night time. That's when they get used to that, and that's kind of that part of that routine. But when they're crying at night and they're in the cot, I remember my mum saying to me, don't keep picking her up, you make a rod for your own back. And she meant well, you know, and I understand that a lot of parents have said that to their kids and about their grandkids, but now I know how actually when she's crying, she needed to know that she was safe is the main thing. So the first thing we want you to do is be in the room, but you don't necessarily need to be talking to them. Just be there. They can be aware of you. They know you're in the room. They're going to feel safer, and hopefully that's going to help them to settle. If they're not settling at that point, then what we want to do is talk to them. We're not going to touch them or pick them up. We're just going to leave them where they lay. Lean over the face and talk to them gently. Ask them how they're doing. Oh, that's a lot of noise. How are you feeling? What's going on for you? Can I do anything to help? All those kind of really nice, gentle conversation with your baby is really good. If at that point they're still not settling, then what we want to do is put a hand on the tummy. Just a nice little gentle hand on the tummy. And carry on talking to them gently. Hopefully that touch and that gentle voice, that's going to help them to soothe, to feel safe in that room with you. But if it doesn't, if they're still crying, then maybe we want to wrap them. Babies do like to be wrapped, and we all kind of know this. Who doesn't like getting wrapped up in a blanket in the winter to feel like nice? Get your knees tucked up. What babies need is for their hands to be free. Their fingers and mouth have lots and lots of nerve endings in, and the senses there help them to soothe. So touching their face really helps a baby to soothe. So we don't want to wrap their hands inside the blanket, but having it wrapped under their arms helps them to feel extra safe. But again, that's not always going to work. It's just another step in their path. What we might want to do after that is look at picking them up. We're going to put them up on our shoulder and hold them still, and not particularly interact with them. We're not jiggling them, we're not moving them about, we're just holding them. They can feel you next to them. They recognise your smell, they recognise everything about you. They're going to hopefully feel safe, nod off to back to sleep maybe, and then put them down again once they're nice and relaxed. If that doesn't work, and it might not do, then what we might want to do is move them a little bit. Nobody wants to be jiggled when they're feeling a bit upset. Nobody wants to be jumped up and down like this. That's not the way we want it to happen. And sometimes when we're playing with babies, we do that and they enjoy it. But actually when they're upset and they need consoling, they would just want a nice gentle rock backwards and forwards or side to side like this. And hopefully that'll help. And you can do it for as long as you feel you need to. Hopefully that's going to help them. If not, it might not work. Babies might still be crying. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to sit them on our forearm with the head there looking at us so they can see our face, because seeing our face is a really strong signal for them to be safe. And that attachment with us is done through facial expressions. So, and then we're going to move them up and down like this. I'm going to move back a little bit, up and down like this with the baby on your arm, and you can just nice and look at them, nice eye contact, a little bit of gentle speech if you need to, and hopefully that'll help them to settle, and you can put them down. None of that is guaranteed. Babies might just need crying, and they might just need to cuddle. You might have done everything possible for them, and they might just still need to cry. It's okay for you to put them down while they're crying in a safe space to give yourself a minute. It can be really frustrating when babies cry and we don't know why, and they won't settle. And we sometimes feel it's a personal thing. Maybe it's us, we're not doing it right. But actually, babies sometimes just need to cry. It doesn't matter how many times you've done all of these consoling steps. If they need to cry, they're going to carry on, and that's not about you. So it's okay if you need a minute to compose yourself, as long as you're going to go back to them and you're going to help them out to contain that emotion. If anybody's struggling, there is the crisis hotline. It's CRY-SIS. So it's on our website. You can find that there. Hopefully, Mick, if you're still listening, you can tag that into the comments. That would be amazing. And so the crisis hotline is open for you to ring and speak to. If you need support, if baby's breastfeeding, or you need support from the infant feeding teams, Tameside and Oldham, they work for Home Start with us. They're a fantastic team. They're doing some amazing work at the moment from home. So definitely, if you need to contact them, you can do. If you want to contact them in any of the other areas in Greater Manchester or wider, you can speak to your health visitor or look on your local authority websites, and there'll be information there about that. And there's also national breastfeeding support lines, which you can find through NCT or UNICEF and some others, which we'll tag on the video later on. Unless Mick can find it now really quickly, we're going to see. Does that sound alright? Does that sound like babies need that kind of thing? What do we think? I've got some other comments here. Let me see. She's putting her husband up for sale. I'm not having him. Is he any good at gardening? Does he come with a lawnmower? John, hi, how you doing? Complications on the delivery ward. So we talked about it a little bit. We'll post the video again so you can see it. There may be different circumstances to normal. You're probably not going to be able to stay over on a ward, but you will be able to be in the delivery room during the labour. That's kind of the information. Your midwives will be able to tell you more about that. But they want you to be able to be with your partner as long as you've not got any symptoms. But there are more restrictions around being on the ward after that. They are trying to get more mums home sooner, but mums tend to get home pretty soon nowadays anyway, so hopefully that will work. Karen, loves this page and support for dads. Thank you, Karen, appreciate that. Pete, you're doing the shopping. You're not made for shopping. Come on, man. T-shirt trick. What's the T-shirt trick? Oh no, is this the thing? The T-shirt you've been wearing, put it into the car. I don't know. That's a good one. We'll have to look into that one, and we'll share that one later. Let me see what else we've got. So staff shortages at the moment. There are a lot of staff working. Most of them are still working full time. I haven't heard of any issues with staff shortages at the moment. What they've done is pulled back things like home births and birth centre births. So everything's happening in the hospital so that it's more contained. I'm sure that they will be able to work that out with you. If you're worried, talk to them. Honestly, they'll be able to put your mind at rest. Okay, hi Vicky, it's nice to see you. So we've talked about the corona stuff. We've talked about consoling your baby. We need to talk about looking after yourself. Now, us men are rubbish at talking about things. And the irony is that the first time you talk about an issue or a struggle is usually the time that you figure out how to work it out. So we need to make sure we're talking about stuff. We're here all the time, so we're still working full time. You can get us through the website, through Facebook, through Twitter, through Instagram, although I'm not too sure about how to use Instagram. And there are posters up on our Facebook page with my phone number on if you need to call or to email. There are other places that are doing stuff. So Andy's Man Club are obviously not meeting, but they're doing video conferencing. So if you need that, get hold of us or get hold of them directly. Andy's Man Club Manchester, Andy's Man Club Oldham, somewhere else to talk. Directions for Men, they'll take referrals or phone calls or have a chat with you if you need to talk about something. So make sure we're talking about everything, okay? All the other services that are around are still there, still engaging. Early attachment services, parenting for mental health services, adult mental health services, they're just doing everything differently. So if you need some support, don't just assume it's not there at the moment. If you need it, you still need it, okay? Absolutely do that. And contact us whenever you need to. This is good, man. We've got quite a lot of comments. Have I covered everything there? Is that good? I don't know. I'm quite excited about being live on the internet. To be fair. Okay, so yeah, we've talked about looking after yourself. Anything else we want to talk about? It's open over to you. I can sit here all day. So Anushka again mentioning that so you're already at risk without the whole corona stuff, which means that your options were already limited. But you're in the right place with them. They know what they're doing. They've got everything in place to be able to cope with it. Talk to them about it. They'll help you out. Okay, I think that maybe we've covered everything. I can't really think of any questions from our groups that fit in with what we've already talked about tonight. We have had questions around negotiating sleep, who gets to sleep and who gets to get up with the baby. We've had questions about changing and holding babies, about building that bond with baby, and we'll go over some of them in our next Dad Chat Live next week. If you've got anything you want to talk about outside of this public forum, contact us. We're happy to do that one-to-one, and we'll be creating some more videos. If you're one of our volunteers and you've not sent us a video about why you're one of our volunteers, get it sent to us so we can create that and put it on YouTube and get on our YouTube channel and see our videos. We've got lots on there. There's actually on there a virtual tour of Tameside Hospital. I know they filmed their own recently so that people who are having babies there can go have a walk around, but we did one about 18 months ago, which is really nice. And there's also videos on there about how you're feeling, about what to do to support your partner, some of our dad chat groups, and the stuff that we deliver on on site as well. So have a look at that. That would be amazing. Subscribe to the channel. That would be even better. Are Aldi nappies any good? To be fair, I've never worn an Aldi nappy, John, if I'm honest. It's not been my first choice. I'm pretty sure that I used to use Netto nappies with my eldest, back when Netto was a thing. And you know, as long as your baby's comfortable in them and you're happy with how they're working, then just try them out, man. Just try them. Postnatal visits with the whole social distancing thing, Chris. Hi, Chris. So the what we've seen has been, so some trusts are saying that they're limiting visiting time. So there's not they're not stopping visits, but it won't be the way that it normally is. Usually maternity visits are all day, every day. Sometimes dads get to stay over on the wards, depending on the policies at that hospital and space and logistics. So hopefully there'll be visiting times. They'll tell you what they are and when they are. And then obviously there'll be lots of things you'll have to do. So make sure you're washing your hands, all that kind of stuff as well. So I think that answers that. But talk to your midwife. They're there to listen. They will speak to partners as well as mums. They want to put your mind at rest, so do that. Nick says Aldi nappies are good. Thanks, Nick. My kids are 13 and 20. Oh, in the home after baby comes. So it's the same criteria for everyone. Social isolation, trying to keep away from lots of people. It's a really difficult time because everyone wants to visit at that point, don't they? But it's just trying to stay away from other people. Just stick to the people in your household. If one of you is having symptoms, then you can speak to NHS 111 for advice. Try and stay in a different room and try and isolate a little bit. Make sure you clean everything, washing your hands, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, your midwife will be able to help you with that as well. Absolutely speak to midwives and health visitors about it if you're concerned about what to do when baby's at home. But it's the same advice. If you look at the link further up, the RCOG link, Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. They have said it twice now. There's lots of information on there about pregnancy and babies and coronavirus. Mick is a bit of a nappy aficionado. I can't even say the word. He'll fill you in. Thanks, Mick. Good lad. Alison's used Aldi as well. So yeah, Aldi's are good. There are other brands available. You know, I don't know what they are, but they're out there. Right, I think that's it, guys. Thank you very much. Just checking I've not missed anything. Thank you for joining us. Hello to everybody that came. Hi to all our volunteers. If you want to be a volunteer, let us know, and we'll catch up with you soon.